Hey you, have you ever wondered what the best art style for a specific game is? Maybe you're an indie game developer who's looking for an art style that will fit their game. Or maybe you're in love with Mario Striker's art style and are very upset with how interesting Pokemon Scarlet and Violet looks. And in reality, all art is subjective, but that's not gonna stop me from taking a look at a bunch of art styles from your favorite video games and chugging them in a tier list in order to figure out which art style works for the most video game types. But first, I want to talk about what it means for a game to have a fitting art style. An example of a fitting art style is Undertale. Many people dunk on Undertale for its quote-unquote ugly art style, but I'm here to say that Undertale would not work with a different art style. The snappy post-to-post art style adds comedic value. Take a look at this scene in Undertale. Do you seriously think it would still work if instead of spinning like this, they spun like this? Another more obvious example is Cuphead. Cuphead's difficult run and gun gameplay style is heavily complemented by its art style. The crude style and expressions of the rubber hose art style fits perfectly with the hard, frustrating, stupid, idiot game. Or Celeste, which takes advantage of its pixely art style since the game is mainly about pixel perfect jumps and whatever this is. So in conclusion, a game's art style isn't just some polish you put on top of the finished game. It directly affects gameplay and how your players view your creation. But anyways, now it's time to take a look at the three main art styles that all games usually use. I'll be judging them on how time consuming they are to make, how many different types of games they will fit into, and overall how unique they are. Starting off with the classic. This art style was originally used because of limited cartridge space and low resolution consoles. We all know it, we all love it, especially indie game developers who apparently think it's the only art style that exists ever. And look, I get it, it's efficient. You can get things done really fast without as much effort as it would take you to model, rig, texture, and import a character if you were doing it 3D. And it really can look really amazing if you do it right. But I just see so much missing potential for video games that could have benefited from a more unique art style but instead opted for pixel art. And I'm obviously not gonna name any names. Binding of Isaac. Anyways, I really do like pixel art, but I just wish it wasn't so overused. I give it 5 out of 10 Pino Bucks. While it's probably the least time consuming out of the three art styles and it probably will fit into a lot of games, it just won't stand out in the sea of other pixel art games. Alright, on to this one's probably tied with 3D on most time consuming for different reasons. When you hand draw every individual frame of an animation, obviously it's gonna be time consuming. Well, except for 2D animation rigs and twinning, but I'm not counting that as hand drawn, that's a whole other thing. Anyways, this is probably the art style that will fit into the most games that are 2D. And it does that while being pretty unique. But because of how time consuming it is to make, I can't give it anything higher than 7 out of 10 Pino Bucks. Meaning we're on to while this is equally as time consuming as hand-drawn art, this is the hardest art style to make and learn. And that's coming from me, which I mean, come on. Still, if you just wanna feel like a AAA studio, this is the art style for you. If you can tell, this is probably my favorite art style out of the three. I know I may be a little biased, but though this art style just seems to have a really negative stigma because, actually 3D is not real art. Man, shut the f*** up. Hot take alert, but 3D is just as artistic as any other art form. You know what isn't real art? AI art. Yeah, I see you typing that in while you have an AI generated profile picture, you boast. I gotta give it a 6 out of 10 just because it is really hard to make. Totally not biased. So that's how the three main art styles rank based on those three categories, but that doesn't really mean anything if you're not an artist and you're just a programmer. Anyway, okay, now it's time to take a look at what people actually mean when they say art style. This is the juicy part, okay? It's time to take a look at some actual art styles. Starting off with... That's right, it's Hi-Fi Rush, baby! The cell shading in this game looks amazing, okay? Look at these outlines. They look like Rohan Kishibe did his weird pencil thing on each individual frame of gameplay. This game looks great. And we can't talk about cell shading without talking about Guilty Gear Stripe. Holy sh**! This is the cell shaded game, okay? The creators of this game use some really weird cheat codes to get it to look how it does. They probably sacrificed some of the playtesters to the devil, who knows? This is the best looking game of June 2021. Speaking of games that look 2D, surprise! Ace Attorney is 2D! Okay, can we talk about Ace Attorney for a sec? I don't care anymore. The Great Ace Attorney is the best looking Ace Attorney game to date. Look at how expressive these characters are. Look at how well they captivated the classic Ace Attorney. Okay, I'll stop talking about 3D, or will I? Let's talk about mixing art styles now. Starting off with 2.5D. What is 2.5D? Well, when someone says 2.5D, they're usually referring to one of two things. Either your game is 2D but all your graphics and art are 3D, or your game is 3D but you slapped a PNG in the middle of the screen. This art style can look pretty good when your game has a fixed camera, but then you move the camera a bit and I would only ever use this art style on 2D side-scrollers, not gonna lie. The 3D graphics on a 2D game, on the other hand, is an art style I'm actually quite fond of. People hate on all the new Super Mario Bros. Games because of their art style, but I'm gonna be honest, I'm a big fan of this art style. It's quite clean and it just feels so Mario. And we can't talk about mixing art styles without talking about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. While this game doesn't necessarily mix art styles, it does make one big art style that can make Kirby look totally normal next to Solid Snake. The artist really spent a lot of time trying to make every character fit together, except for you. Okay, I'll actually stop talking about 3D now. An art style I'm a really big fan of is the art style of the later Alligator game. The characters in this game have a lot of charm, and they're also beautifully animated and have this boiling motion to them while they're not moving. Another art style I want to talk about is the Night in the Woods art style, which manages to be pretty well animated and also isn't hand-drawn. I just love how the text bubbles look, though I just wish the characters weren't so static, I guess. But that can't really be helped when you're using a 2D rig. Moving on to the next game, this is probably the only game I've ever seen that uses pixel art but manages to stand out amazingly. I'm of course talking about Pixel Tower! Game of the year, everybody! Game of the year! Let's go! It's Game of the year! This is probably my favorite art style that is two-dimensional. I mean, come on, look at this guy! WarioWare wishes they look like this. I rate this art style 10 out of 10 Pino bucks. Thanks for coming, alright? Thank you. No, thank you. So in conclusion, if you want your game to stand out and you have artistic skill, use hand-drawn or 3D. If you don't, then I don't know, you go use DALL-E for like